Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast that delights in the fact that there are Celtic fans all over this great big planet. From Livingston to Laramie, Kairat to Kakadu, wherever you happen to be watching from, you're part of A Celtic World. Did you like that little Australian reference there, Stephen? If you come off mute, you can tell us.
Yeah, I did very much appreciated, Gav, although I've never been to Kakadu.
I was going to ask, what is Kakadu?
I don't know. I've heard the name, but I couldn't tell you what it is. I'm going to say it's a small town in Western Australia or something.
Well, there's Kakadu National Park. That's all I know. Like
Right.
big nature reserve or whatever. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Let's all be sympathetic to Monty, who's got COVID. Do we still express sympathy for people who've got COVID? I don't know if that's the case anymore. Get on with it.
Yeah, he's got a mere life. Come on, Monty. Man up. Or person up, or whatever.
Turn up mic, please. Hold on a second here.
Speak louder.
I've been having so many troubles with my mic recently. Mickey Monaghan's telling me to turn up my mic. Hang on. I see that excitingly. Oh, yes. I do have to turn up my mic. Excitingly, we are joined tonight, Stephen, for the first time by a new contributor. So, drum roll, please. Ta-da! It's Anthony.
Hi, Stephen.
How you doing?
Hi, Gav. How you doing?
Hi, Anthony.
Good to actually finally do a podcast with you, Stephen. We've crossed paths many times, but never actually online.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's great to be here.
Likewise.
So what Anthony's referring to there is the fact that we all started off our podcasting career at the same lower league team. It's fair to say. Did we not?
We're graduating.
Non-league team.
Celtic Down Under. I'm low, Gav, and Stephen is loud. No, my volume was low. Sorry, don't know why not. What happened there, but I'm gonna get a whole new mic set up and everything at the weekend when I'm in Bangkok, going to the big city. So I'm going to go to a mall and buy, a brand name microphone that we all might recognize. So that's all very exciting. All right, Anthony. Well, welcome to A Celtic World.
Thank you.
You are going to be a contributor, but not necessarily in this show. Do you want to tell the peeps what the plans are? Is it time to announce the plans?
Yes. May as well get the elephant at the room. But yes, Paul and I will be starting the tactical review. So that will kick off starting next Monday night. So we'll review the game from the weekend, obviously Celtic game from the weekend, with a fine-tooth comb. So we will spend an hour going through that. Our first game obviously will be the Rangers Celtic game, which obviously takes place on Sunday. So we will kick off 8:30 Malaysia Perth time. So Celtic Park time. Paul, Gav, can you help me out with that one? If that's
1:30, isn't it? 7
yes, 1:30. Yeah. So and basically Paul and I have been on the airways for the last couple of years. So very much going to be a similar style show, a little bit more interactive because we'll have some graphics and things to put up. So definitely something to watch on YouTube. But yeah, really looking forward to getting started. Paul's been on holidays, which obviously why he's been not part of the Celtic World broadcasts since the start of the season, but he landed back in Perth today. So we should be all ready to rock and roll in a week's time. But I'm here just to do the soft launch and join you for discussions on the Livy game and obviously preview our trip to Kazakhstan in 48 hours time or less. Less than that.
Very soon. People in the chat, if you're watching live, tell me, is my mic still quiet? Because I've just upped the volume a couple of times. If it's still quiet, we're going to have a problem, and I'm going to have to be handing over as much as possible to others. So let's get on with it. This is the thumbnail for today's show. We're going to be talking about, yes, as you just said, the Livingston victory, and obviously some individual performances there. the new golden boy, and then a chap blurring into the background there, a midfielder who finds himself slightly pushed out of the picture, much to some Celtic World contributors' chagrin. And then, of course, who's that leaning in there, Stephen, into the picture? You recognise that?
Yeah, that's the Kazakhstan manager, isn't it? I had read his name earlier on today, but it's totally gone from my memory now. So he is the Kazakhstan manager, not the Kazakhstan manager, the team we're playing's manager.
Yes, okay, Kairat. That
Aye,
is
right.
Rafael Urazbaktin. I definitely know that Anthony knew that, so I didn't want to embarrass you, Stephen, by chucking over such an easy question. All right, so that's the plan for today. I have to disappear a little bit early, like 5 minutes early or something, so almost silent, Gav, says Jezebel.
Sounds all right to me.
Yeah. Well, we have no idea. Somebody else says I'm coming through loud and clear on YouTube. Mike's grand on YouTube, says Mickey Moynihan. Welcome to the professional podcast, Anthony.
Technical gremlins will kick in at any given moment. You can have your settings right one week, and then the next week it all just goes to rubbish. So a Windows update is all it takes for it to go a bit stew with. So I totally get it.
Right. Well, hopefully that'll all be different when I get my new mics. Definitely fine on YouTube. Right. I'm not going to concern myself with it anymore. So anyway, all right. Because it's not good telly watching somebody ask how loud their microphone is for an hour. So we won't do that. Instead, we will let's watch the blood pressure rise as Stephen challenges the fact that Scales was made captain of Celtic Football Club.
Yeah, I mean, the team selection, I think I couldn't have been the only one that got knocked right out my shoes when I saw that. I certainly had at least a 3 or 4 in there that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting so many wholesale changes. And yes, I think it is a little bit of a damning indictment on where the squad sits just now. That Liam Scales is the captain of a Celtic team in the year 2025. So clearly, there's a couple of guys here. Ian Inamura's came in right out the blue, right out from the cold after Brendan basically saying he wasn't good enough to be playing. Or words to that effect. We might talk a bit further about what he actually said. And also Shin Yamada in there from the start as well. Another one who he's not exactly been glowing in praise about. So very surprised to see those two starting. Wasn't surprised that Kieran Tierney didn't start. Maybe a little more surprised that he actually sat McGregor out, which he doesn't normally do under any circumstances. So good to see he's bold enough to make those many changes. But I think it does sort of tell you where we are as a squad.
What Brendan did famously say, well, I probably won't get this right, but did you hear him butchering one of the most famous footballers in the world's name by saying you don't want to put Inamur up against Yamala Lamina or something?
Yeah, I did see that.
Made a pig's ear of that. But anyway, let's get on with the game. I wasn't able to save these from Celtic TV, so I don't have the times of these events, but they're roughly in the correct order. Now, I missed the first 35 minutes of this game because I was out watching my local team play, Saba FC against Kalantan, which was possibly the worst game of football I've ever sat through. It was absolutely dreadful. Like I was watching it honestly thinking I could do a job out there. That's how bad it was. So I came back after watching this 0-0 draw, turned on the telly and it's 0-0 and everyone's complaining in the WhatsApp group. But actually from that moment on, I think things picked up kind of. This was the only highlight I found that I missed, which was somewhere near the start of the game. The shin goal from Engels offside, Anthony.
Yeah, I think it was roughly about 20-25 minutes in. So ball over the top. Engels is just going ever so slightly early. So yeah, just a half a body with offside, but sort of gets it under control. Sort of basically gets into a situation where he's swearing it to Shin, who, at that point we thought had maybe scored his first goal, but the body language and the reaction pretty much straight away sort of made both players think that probably were offside. And sure enough, the lines were drawn, but the replays to the naked eye looked like, unfortunately, it was just slightly offside. So yeah, I mean, it was the first breakthrough really in the sort of game, but Shin could have had a hat trick really, because he had that one. He had a header, which you may have. Yep, you got it right there, Gav. You're all over the top of it. Amazing power on this header, like basically, a real good leap and maybe hit the crossbar, but forced the keeper to save. And then basically had the chance in the second half where he sort of slides in and in another day could have been a hat trick. I saw enough from him to sort of think that there's a player there. A lot of movement, and I think one of the biggest criticisms for Adam Ida against the Kazakhstan team during the week was he was very static. And I watched that first half back, and very little movement from Adam, and not doing himself any favors. But at least Shin Yamada sort of very, very mobile and trying to make those Kyogo-like runs. So trying to be on the last man, trying to stretch it. And it's hard when Livingston's sitting as well. So he's not getting a lot of space. But I just saw a few wee glimpses there. I think there's some sort of a player there. But yeah, time will tell. And to fast forward to the conversation, like, who does he start with up front? He's got a real question on his hands. You also got Kenny, you've got Yamada, and then obviously you've got Maeda. I don't think Ida will be fit. I don't think he should start anyway. But yeah, it's for me, that's our biggest problem at the moment, is who is our recognised number one striker. That's our biggest issue as a squad and as a team. And obviously, we could have all our podcasts discussing how we've gotten ourselves into this situation. But yeah, for me, that's the biggest challenge at the moment. But interesting that he went with Yamada over Kenny, considering we basically haven't seen much of Yamada up until now.
Well, one of the challenges of this show is going through the images of the game in a relatively quick fire way before then expanding into larger discussions about things. So welcome to a Celtic World. There's your first
apologise.
Bit of scolding from teacher. Hey, do you want to respond to that below, Anthony? You're the spitting image of a UK comedian. Do you know who that?
I hope he's a funny one. Who help me out? I don't know who.
Well, that's funny, because when I first saw you, I sent you an image onto the group of a UK comedian saying you're the spitting image of this guy. And I'm trying to remember.
Gav, I can't remember what happened yesterday, let alone what happened like 3 years ago, whatever it was. There's a half a chance. Help me out.
We'll come back to that later.
Okay.
Let's plow on with the pictures, Stephen. This is Nygren winning the ball on the touchline, cutting in and shooting. Was he being greedy there?
Yeah, I think he was a bit. He was definitely second favourite to win that ball, though. The guy was like the defender was just ushering it out for a by kick, and he managed to get his body in between the defender and the ball and just eased him off it. And from here, he's in a really good position there. I don't know. Well, there's a lot of, as there was the whole game, there's a lot of Livingston players in the picture. It's a bit of a crowd scene. So he just maybe couldn't pick anyone out when he lifted his head. So he's just going to hit power, and he's went for the back post, and I think it came off the first defender. But a really good bit of play from Nygren to get into that position.
Nice and short there from Stephen. And then this is the next thing. This is like the first thing that happened really that made me get excited. Still in the first half. Engels on the end of a sweeping counter-attack. Here he comes. Arnie Engels, he's going to finish. He must do. Oh, takes a touch and then falls over. Anthony.
Yeah, unfortunate. I mean, again, another day he'd have a couple of assists and a goal. Or, he's just unlucky. I mean, it's just one of these things. It can happen. And yeah, I'll go on a bit more about Arnie Engels when we talk about squads for the European game. But
like what you've done there.
Yeah.
Carl Donnelly is the answer. Now, these days he's changed his look a lot and he's kind of grey hair and stuff. This is the comedian. But you look like what Carl Donnelly used to look like.
Oh, I'm
he's saying
Googling
maybe
Hal
Mark
Donnelly
Watson.
right now because I'm not familiar with his work. So
David Clarkson saying Mark Watson. So you just look like any comedian. Your comedy stylings are exciting.
As opposed to the rest of us who sound like comedians when we try and talk sense about the football.
Okay, and then what was it? Oh yeah, just after that, in the same sort of sequence of play, Stephen, came the Yang header, which was amazingly saved by the goalkeeper.
Yeah. I I could live to be 100 years of age and I won't understand how he saved that. I mean, he's carried a huge slice of luck with the fact it's ricocheted off the underside of the bar and came out. It could just as easily have went in or came back down and hit him on the way back down and then went in. So, but he's earned his slice of luck by making such a great point blank save. But I think he's got to score there though, Yang, doesn't he? And to be fair to him, he does more or less everything right. But I think, that's just going to come to sum up Yang's career at Celtic. He does most things right, but it just doesn't end up with an end product. And I think you're expecting. I was expecting that to end up in the back of the net, but I think you've got to give credit to the goalkeeper. It was a fabulous save.
I think there's a possibility of a wee deflection there coming on to Yang as well. So the fact that he had to adjust for that as well, I think he put enough power on it, but it's just one of these things. I mean, I don't know you can take anything away from the goalkeeper on that one. I think it's just one of those saves. It is what it is. But thankfully, we'll get to Yang in a second, but he obviously becomes an assist a bit later on.
Yeah, not much later on. Well, if this is an assist. This is where he had the shot and then the keeper parried it.
Yeah.
And who was there to finish it in but Benjamin Nygren, who a lot of people are already saying, he's grabbing the bull by the horns in a way that they wish some of our other midfielders would. And, we'll talk about our midfielders after the game because it is a bit of a conundrum who's fitting in where. And I'll show you a tweet that surprised me, suggesting that 3 names that could be in our midfield. By the way, Stephen, before you jump in, one of the most astounding things about the team sheet was the lack of Callum McGregor. I have to note that.
Yeah, I did mention that.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah, you obviously weren't listening.
He was too busy trying to fix his microphone.
Fiddling with your microphone as usual.
That's not a euphemism, right?
See, just to go back to that picture, the picture before, just for a second. The one of Nygren putting the ball in the net there. Look at the amount of Livingston players in the box. It's ridiculous, isn't it? How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 outfield players in the keeper. So 9 players in total inside their box, and one of them just outside on the D at the edge of the box. So I mean, that's what you're up against when you play a team like Livingston. And it's not easy, so I think we can be fairly pleased with our afternoon's work for getting 3 goals.
I'm just looking at this Mark Watson image. Just hold on, let me show you it now. David has sent me this in the group chat, and he's very keen for me to share it. That is Mark Watson. I suppose the glasses, the beard. Yeah. I guess you look like quite a lot of people, do you?
Anyone with a big beak, basically. It wears specs. That sort of gets me in the frame. Anyway, I think the points made. One of the comments there, Jezebel saying, "Loved it. I love an attacking midfielder prepared to get in the box," and I think that's where Nygren's really shown that sort of grabbing the bull by the horns. Just the fact that he's getting in there and attacking the space, and he's effectively playing right wing, but still managed to get on the end of it twice.
Indeed, here is that second one. Lovely motion.
What I liked about this one was the confidence in him to absolutely lash it into the top corner.
Look where it goes.
a lot of players would just have side-footed it, and the defender maybe had cleared it, but he's went, "Nah, I'm rattling this top corner." Like, he's got all the confidence in the world. So I mean, you can't fair play the guy. So yeah, I was very impressed with that finish. It was very cool, as you like.
Paddy Lavery there from Belfast, dropping another lookalike, and they love their lookalikes. We've got who's it you're most often compared to, Stephen?
No, Alan McInally,
Yeah,
the former Celtic striker.
and somebody else. Can't remember who else. I am any bald person with glasses. It seems. Yeah. All right. What time is it here, Rubber Duck? It is 6:22 p.m. So I think a glass of wine is permissible. Don't you? It helps me cope with the stress of microphone malfunctions. Right. Negron slipping in Engels here. It was Engels, wasn't it? Yeah. Who then
it was.
puts the cross in for Kenny, who scored a striker's goal. It was nice to see this, wasn't it? A striker scoring from a cross in the centre of the goal. Stephen, that give you joy? Oh, not that photograph. Sorry.
Yeah, and that was the next one was the goal was it was
they're out of
Maida.
order, aren't they?
Yeah, it was Maida that crossed for Kenny to score. And I think the ball was slipped through by Engels, I think, to Maida. And he squared it for Kenny to score.
This is Negron to Engels. Engels sort of crosses it, and then it pops out to Negron, who then lashes.
Yeah, that was the goal. Yeah,
that was the second goal. Yes.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. And then we had Maida crossing it in for Kenny.
Yeah.
What a delight to see a striker scoring, as I say.
Yeah, I mean it was a good finish from him. You can't take that away from him. He's got across his man really well, and directed it into the corner. Funnily enough, I think we probably skipped past the one that Yamada got on the end of at the front post in quite a similar sort of situation of what Kenny scored from and diverted it the other side of the post. So he was a bit unlucky with that one, but it was good to see Kenny getting on the score sheet. It's always good for a striker to get his first goal of the season. In fact, it was always good to see any of our strikers get their first goal of the season because it's not, they've not been raining goals from our strikers. So, whereas I don't really think that Kenny is going to be the answer as the number one striker. He clearly does have something about him, whether that's something we should be looking to get out on loan to another team or whether we should be trying to get a bit of money from it. I'm not too sure, but great finish.
There's Kaiser telling me.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wow, Gav. There you go.
Am I really loud now?
You're really loud, but that worked.
What we did there, do that.
That worked.
Yeah. Somebody has been messing with my gain button.
That
is out of order.
Another euphemism.
You're back.
Nobody touches my gain button without my permission.
What I was very quickly going to say was that there was a move with Kenny where he dragged the defender out wide, and Schmeichel played the ball out to him very early when he picked up the ball and managed to drag the defender out wide and worked it up the park and basically dragged it for about 40 yards. Very, very, very impressive how he managed to do that. I think that's actually what led to the third goal. Ended up being out for a corner. So yeah, no, there's things to like about Kenny's game, like his play, but yeah, whether that's off the bench or on loan, yeah, remains to be seen. But he's definitely there's something about him as well. But yeah, there's a discussion to be had about that.
Shall we have a quick discussion about Dano? You all know who Dano is?
Well, being based in Australia here, we know that they put an O at the end of everybody's name, so Dano is Dane, basically. So Dane Murray. Yeah, I thought he played well for like maybe about 75% of the game, and then the last 10 minutes really, he had a couple of really bad moments, and I know the Celtic view. The Celtic TV commentators were putting it down to a bit of tiredness. I don't think that's an acceptable excuse. He's a member of the first team squad. He's been training. He's done pre-season. He should be better in the last 10 minutes of the game. And I don't think that will go unnoticed with Brendan Rodgers. The fact, and he almost gave away a goal, I think, twice. He got caught in possession once, and he had a terrible pass across the back once as well. He got back here,
but then he
really
recovered.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he recovered his own mistake, and that's good. And I think all in all, in the rest of the game, he was pretty good. His passing from the back was pretty crisp and accurate, and I think he done well all round. But you can't lose your concentration like that in the last 10 minutes of a game. I mean, given the state of our squad just now and the injuries we seem to be accumulating, there is a chance he'll have to play at the Crumble Dome next week. So, he won't get away with that there. I mean, Livingston in general were pretty awful, both in attack and defence. They didn't really offer anything in the game, but we still managed to present them with two gilt-edged chances at the end of the game there, and I don't think that'll go down well with Rodgers.
I think Dane Murray did come down with cramp, so he cramped up, and yeah, should that happen? Oh, no, but obviously there obviously are footballers who are susceptible, and probably his first 90 minutes he's played for Celtic, obviously in a league situation. So I'm willing to cut him a little bit of slack there, because I think by that point we'd made all our subs, so he just had to play through it. You're right, there was that one where he passed it out from the back. I thought his passing was pretty good up until that point. Like, he was playing it forward, which is one of the biggest criticisms of Celtic centre halves, is they like to play side to side. So he was trying to play it forward. He's played it forward. He's mishit his pass. A tackler's cut in, but he's managed to make this recovering tackle. Fantastic. Fixed his mistake. But yeah, you're right. Right at the end, he did nearly cross the goal. But again, he was blowing hard with cramp. So I'm willing to give him a slight pass on that. But I thought him and Stales, they didn't really have much to do, but what they did have to do, I thought they did it pretty well. And Schmeichel, again, had nothing to do for 89 minutes and has to pull a save in the last 5 minutes of the game, which was top drawer. And, defensively, we're looking pretty good. I mean, 4 clean sheets. Like, we've started the season defensively really, really well. I think Kieran Tierney makes a massive difference and takes pressure off Stales, because previously Stales had Greg Taylor beside him. He now has Kieran Tierney beside him. Makes a big difference. So I just think defensively, obviously losing AJ is a blow, but Rodgers backs the young lad that that got subbed in with 10 minutes to go. Colby. So we'll see how it goes. But I think defensively, into part of the midfield, we're looking all right. It's just the wide positions and up front are the real head scratchers.
Yeah. Defensively, we're looking pretty good. Rodgers talked about Dane Murray. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dane Murray. Oh, jeez, I'm questioning myself there. Having to develop a bit of devilment. Is that a word you hear often? Devilment.
I think sometimes young players can be a wee bit too honest, and sometimes you need a little bit of the dark arts, as it were. So getting away with a wee nudge, a wee tongue of the sharp here and there, and just a wee. I
know what he means, but the word devilment, Anthony. When was the last time you said devilment?
I can't say it's in my vocabulary, Gav. It's not really a word I go to. It's not my day to day, but Brendan likes to pull these things out from time to time.
Yeah, or maybe it's
far be it from me to grammar check Brendan Rodgers, but I think the word's bedevilment, is it not? So
no, it's devilment. He said devilment. I think it's a County Antrim thing, because my uncle, who's a priest, once told me when I was a wee boy, he was like, "Why don't you throw some stones at the cats?" He said to me, and I was like, "Why would I do that?" He said, just for devilment. So it reminded me of that. Brought me back to that special place. Yeah, not devilment. Anyway,
no,
it's a little aside.
To your greater knowledge of the 6 counties vernacular.
You do that. Yeah, so in terms of sort of player head-to-heads, going into this big game, I guess the easiest one to deal with is not Ida and Shin, Scales and Trusty, and we're talking about the defence. Scales played, he's captain in that game, and they say Trusty has plantar fasciitis in his foot and is going to be out for a bit.
Yeah, I had that condition a few years ago, and it's very, very painful. But it's not I don't know. It's not a thing that would stop you from playing football. When I was playing football at the time, and I used to get it after I finished a game, and literally for a day or two after the game, I couldn't walk properly on the foot, the affected foot. But during the game, it was fine when you're actually playing the game. So I'm not sure whether he's got it worse, maybe, or
I think it's because Stephen, you're hard as nails. That's the difference.
I'm tough, really. I'm tough.
And Trusty, as we all know, is
weak as piss.
Correct.
As a pharmacist, I'll just weigh in just quickly. It's one of these things where it will flare up, and rest is really the best treatment for it. So maybe it's a case where playing 2 games back to back is probably not feasible at the moment for him. As Stephen says, he's probably come off the park and it's probably absolutely throbbing. So yeah, there's a possibility we might see him tomorrow night, effectively, or Wednesday morning. But I think there's every likelihood it will be Scales, and you just don't want to take the chance, especially since he was captain, and I'm not, I've got Paul as my podcasting partner, and he is the anti-Scales part of the partnership. So I've got to kind of balance it out just a wee bit and sort of say, look, when he's done all right, he's done all right, but I don't think he's really done much wrong this season so far. I people are judging Scales on the Scales of a couple of seasons ago. He is what he is. But I think if you've got Kieran Tierney beside him and you've got Carter Vickers the other side of him, he'll be fine. And
you mentioned Paul there, Anthony. Paul is probably best known as, an unshakable believer in Arnie Engels and will not hear any criticism of him. So let's move on to the Engels-Nygren thing. Are you the antidote to Paul's enthusiasm for Engels, or do the two of you agree?
I agree on that one. I think there's a player in Engels. I look at him like
not just a player. He's an absolute baller. He's the best player we've got, apparently.
Well, I've heard it that far. I think he's got the Matt O'Reilly potential. He's 21, so he's got an uptick. He's going to improve. He's going to get better, but he's only going to get better if he plays. So for me, both Nygren and Engels start on Tuesday night. Simple as that. Probably play both of them. But
yeah,
you can't have one of the bench. Play both.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure about that. I think Nygren's a wonderful player, but I think I'm not convinced about him playing in a wide position. I don't think one of my, as you know, Gav, one of my pet hates is wingers with no pace, and I don't think he's got the pace to get outside of a winger. A fullback, and get to the byline. I don't think you're ever going to see that from him. I think he's very good cutting in and having a shot or picking out a pass into the box, and he's good at getting into the box himself. But I think I would rather it was either Nygren or Engels playing in that sort of attacking midfield role, and I'd be quite happy. It's going to be really hot over there. It's going to be at altitude. So the whole squad is going to have to play a part in this game. So I'd be quite happy if they shared that role. Maybe Nygren for the first 55 minutes, and then Engels coming on for the rest of the game. And even at that point, you could shuffle Nygren out wide if he's still got anything left in the tank. But I think Engels will probably find himself back on the bench. But I mean, I agree I'm in total agreement with Paul and Anthony. I think Engels is a very good player, and he's got a lot of qualities. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of Celtic fans have already made their mind up about him. And regardless of how he plays, you'll always get people appearing on the socials saying he had a terrible game. He could score a hat-trick and walk away with a match ball in the man of the match, and you'll still find someone saying, "Nah, it's a bit underwhelming for me." So I think he's a good player, but I don't think he'll start the game on Tuesday night.
The only other thing I want to just quickly add is that Arnie Engels' set piece delivery is far superior to Benjamin Nygren, and that would be the other reason.
Oh yeah, miles better.
The other reason.
We don't like this word on the show. That's another thing for you to remember, Anthony. Underwhelming is not permissible. A few points then on.
Did I say that?
No, it wasn't you saying it. You were saying other people will say on the socials they were underwhelmed. So I'll give you a pass on that. But,
all right. Thank you.
When is Benjamin Negron going to shave his head? Because he's fooling nobody. That's another thing I've picked up on. That has to happen quite soon. He's going to be a short-haired player.
He needs a midoxanil badly.
You could be dropping in little pharmacist gags left, right, and centre.
Possibly.
For all our pharmacist viewers out there.
It may actually be performance enhancing, so they might not actually allow to take it, actually. Which is why there's a lot of hair transplants. Anyway, I digress. Carry on.
Well, I'm going to continue to digress.
I don't think you're in a particularly good place to make that comment, though, Gav. I mean, you've left yourself open.
Perfect place.
I mean, I'm not casting any dispersions, but I think you've left yourself open to an allegation of jealousy there. So,
I just know what it's like to be living a lie, Stephen. You've got to be your own authentic self. Once in the days when cameras came out, and people were about to take a photograph. Yeah, yes, we are. People used to go to take a photograph, and I'd be in a panic about how much of my scalp was visible, and I'd be doing all this. So I know what it's like to be at that stage, and the sooner you get the clippers out, the better. All right. And another thing to get off my chest about Negron is, see all this shit, like doing this to our fans and doing this. Come on, make some noise. As people in Glasgow like to say, they need to get that in the bin. Don't you think? That's annoying. No? Are we not annoyed by that, Stephen?
Yes.
You're easily annoyed.
I wasn't annoyed with that. No. I noticed in the game against Almaty last week, he was doing it, and he did annoy a few people by doing it there, because it all depends on the context, doesn't it? I don't think he just scored a goal here, and I think he was just a bit excited, and he was just saying, "Come on, let's hear you." But that's all right, isn't it?
I just generally don't like players doing it. I didn't like Kyogo doing it even when he was doing it. Like, come on, I don't like being told what to do, especially in football games.
If he's banging the goals, I don't care. As long as it's like, I'm not a huge fan of the salute, because that just reminds me of Scott Arfield. So that can go in the bin. But anything else is fair game as far as I'm concerned.
Jezebel's getting into the spirit of things there. Yeah, I didn't see him doing a salute. All right, let's run through some of these things quickly. Now, Davy Martindale comes in for a lot of abuse, doesn't he? A lot of stick, because of his past life and his appearance, and he gets compared to this fella. There's wee Davy there. But, I was thinking, I saw a picture that made me sort of rethink this a bit, and he's taller than Brendan, wee Davy Martindale, and I started thinking, how wee is he compared to other managers? So he comes off quite well in this photograph, taller than Rodgers. Taller than Stephen Robinson. Same height as Mark McGee. And taller than Van Bronckhorst. And I suppose the jury's out. There's a bit of a bent over range there. So I'm going to stand up for wee Davy Martindale and say he's not that wee. What do you think about that, Stephen?
Well, I think it's you're measuring him against a fairly low bar there, because I know Brendan Rodgers is very small. It's a real short arse. I think that's the first thing anybody ever mentions when you meet Brendan Rodgers in person, is how small he is. He is the shortest of shortest arses. So I don't know. I'd like to see him maybe, if you get him standing next to maybe a Liam Scales or an Arnie Engels or something. I think you'd probably see the true height of wee Davy the Hun.
And Anthony, the way we sort of live our lives knowing each other head and shoulders, no idea how tall people are. I was quite surprised to find that Paul's height he's quite slightly diminutive. He wouldn't like me saying that, but are you a tall chap, Anthony? You're probably tall.
I'm 6'4".
6'4", get in there. Yeah. Oh, excellent. So, we have 3 over 6 feet here, so this is a good, tall, man-sized podcast tonight.
It is a man-sized podcast. I was going to say, Martindale gives me slightly Ernst Stavro Blofeld vibes, like Donald Pleasance. that sort of spectre type.
Yeah, I think he's. I think he
Mastermind.
spends his whole time when they play us. He spends his whole time trying to convince everyone that he's not really a Hun, because he's always super nice.
He's always
super
hugging. He's always hugging.
Yeah, he's hugging
like Rodgers and that. Like
he's hugging everyone. He's just hugging everyone he can find, and he's going on about
I don't
how
mind
Celtic
him.
are the best. The Celtic are the best team in the country, and we're so good and brilliant. And how good are you guys?
personally, he is what he is. I don't mind him either. Like he's just he sometimes does the whole "woe is me, we're Livingston, we've got no fans, got no money." But yeah, apart from that, he gets on with it, doesn't he? And he got them back up again.
Yeah.
So
He got himself back up again as well, the way he turned his life around. You got to respect that.
you do have to respect that. Yep, fair play.
And what about talking about people making the most out of their lives and their talents? The aforementioned Hasbulla. You know how old he is?
I don't actually.
I don't know.
He's 23, apparently.
Have a hard life.
And yeah, he's got this condition. You're in the caring profession, Anthony. How can you make jokes? That's terrible. He's got some form of dwarfism that makes him look really young.
Yeah.
And he's worth a couple of million apparently, so he's doing very well. He's making the most when life gives you lemons.
That's right.
So-
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. All right. So back to the midfield chat. I came across this tweet. Somebody saying Bernardo is a 6. He's our backup for Cal Mack. And then somebody else saying, well, Engels doesn't have the attacking side to his game. For me, he's suited to a deeper role. Out of him, Bernardo and Negrin. And then somebody else saying they don't think Bernardo's a defence-minded centre mid. How do these three all fit together for you guys? I'm a bit confused about where Bernardo's best position is, Engels' best position. I think it's pretty clear where Negrin needs to go. Don't think he could do anything other than be where he is. But can you see a midfield of these three, like being a regular thing?
Yeah, I could. Okay. I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made. Because remember when Cal Mack had the injury last season, the season before, and Matt O'Reilly subbed in at the number 6. And at that point, we're thinking, can he do it? Has he got it? And he actually did a really, really good job in that role because he's clean in the pass. He can turn with have his back to the play and stuff like that. So could Danny Engels do that? I think he could. Could Bernardo play a little bit further forward, play more like an 8, that sort of workhorse, box to box, just breaking up the play and having enough talent to get a shot away and play that pass? Yes, I could see that as well. Negrin, definitely a 10 or a push right wing, as needs must at the moment because we haven't bothered to sign a winger. So yeah, I definitely could see that. I know we're obviously Rodgers' preference is obviously to play Bernardo in that number 6 role in the place of Cal Mack. We haven't seen much of Bernardo because he played in the under-21s tournament, so he came back later, didn't have as much of a pre-season, so it is understandable that he's only really coming back into rotation now. But I think there's a lot to like about Bernardo as well. I know, again, the Celtic support online is very divided about him, but I think there's a player there as well. But it's just finding a way to utilize them. But for me, just to mention another name, Luke McCowan, I think he is David Turnbull off the bench. He's your league player, swap in if you want to freshen up the team, but I really can't see him holding down a first team berth week to week.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I say he's reached his ceiling. Luke McCowan, what you've got with Luke McCowan now is what you're going to get. Bernardo, Engels, they're still improving. They're still getting better. There's more to come from those players. You've got to give them as much game time as possible within reason. Obviously, you've got McGregor, Hatate, obviously Negrin now, but you've got to find a way to play your young players because that's how they develop. And ultimately, when we sell them on in a few years' time and make money and go, we've got 25 million for Anthony Engels, it's not with him sitting on the bench. It's with him playing.
Okay, now specifically, coming into the last sort of 10 minutes max of the show, we need to talk about the Kairat match. So what about this point here? Who leads the line? Is it Kenny? Is it Shin? Is it Maeda? Stephen, what's your call for this? What's going to happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, I think it's going to have to be Maeda through the middle. And the reason that pains me to say is because that means Yang on the left. So I don't want that to happen. But I don't see that we have any other choice in this game. Because I don't think either Shin or Kenny have shown enough to suggest that they're up to the task of leading the line over there. We're not going to have the ball for the whole game as we normally do, so there's going to be a lot of chasing involved. There's going to be a lot of closing down, and I think Maeda's the very man for that. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not reasonable to expect anybody to do that for 90 minutes. So one or maybe even both of them is going to have a part to play off the bench, maybe for the last 30 minutes of the game. Might even go to extra time. I hope not, but you never know. But the thought of Yang on the left doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. So that's the downside of playing Maeda through the middle. But I think that's what he's going to have to do.
Yeah, well, a variety of opinions being expressed in the comments.
I think it's easy to get carried away with Shin's performance on Saturday, and he did okay, and I think he deserves credit for that. But he was playing Livingston at home, and there wasn't, they were very poor, I thought, and I think over the course of the past couple of games, we've seen Livingston and Falkirk, and I can't see past the two of them to be fighting it out for relegation by the end of the season. So I think we need to see more from Shin before we throw him into a game like this.
I mean, you can't underestimate the size of this game. It's true. It's an absolutely massive one. You getting excited about it, Anthony?
Oh, I am. And I totally agree with what Stephen just said. I think we will start with Maeda in the middle. It'll be Yang on the left. But my preference is, again, Niederin on the right. Keep Jamesy Forrest on the bench for that change-up. Because when the game slows down a wee bit, then Jamesy coming on can really have an impact. Playing Jamesy from the start, I just feel he gets a bit negated. And then as Stephen rightly says, you will be bringing on Kenny or Yamada, depending on what you're after. If we are winning, he'll bring Kenny on for the work rate. And if we're losing, he'll probably bring Shin on to try and jag a goal. So it really depends how the game pans out. I can see it going to extra time. I hope not. But I think we're going to have to rely on our bench. So I think it would be wise to have a couple of change-ups. And I would be a bit more inclined to use younger players to start with to just try and run at them and tire them out, and then bring your likes of your Forrest on when the game theoretically slows up a bit.
Yeah, you talk about the game slowing up and running and starting the game quickly and all these things in the heat at altitude, and then the game going to extra time. It all has all the makings of our players looking just dead on their feet in extra time, and that really scares me.
Well, then we're going to have to back it up at at Mordor in like 4 days' time after that. But having watched them play St Mirren yesterday, we were absolutely nothing to fear going there. I tell you what, like seriously, like you thought the first half of the Livingston Celtic game was a hard watch. We made 8 changes. And the team didn't gel quite well, and there's still a lot of positives. They were terrible. St Mirren only needed a couple of substitutes just to see that game through. They'd have won that game comfortably 1-0, if not 2-0. But they managed to drag a draw out of it. But tell you what, they are pitiful. They're in some state. Like, we complain about not signing a winger or whatever. And I know we shouldn't compare ourselves to them, and I don't. But they're in a hell of a state. But that's for a discussion on Thursday night. Not right now.
That is more of a discussion for Thursday night, yeah. In fact, I've got some pictures I was going to share for a laugh all about the Rangers conversation, but yeah, we're running very low on time. So, Stephen, Kairat, you're going to get up in the middle of the night to watch. It's a stinker of a time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think it's something like 3 o'clock in the morning or something for me, so I don't know. I'll probably get up, but I've got a big week at work this week, so I don't know how I'm going to manage it. So It couldn't possibly be a worse kickoff time for me. But we'll see what I can do.
Well, I
it's
don't know. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's not one of those games that I think is going to be particularly enjoyable watch. It's going to be fraught with nerves, but I'll probably wake up anyway and end up watching it.
You say it couldn't be a worse kickoff time, but it's 1:45 for me and Anthony, and I think that is worse because 3 you watch the game and then you're up for the day when the game's over, pretty much. But this is like get a couple of hours, watch it, try and get a couple more hours sleep, isn't it?
My problem with games like that, especially if hopefully we do get the result, but if we don't get the result, then I'll just be fizzing for the next 2 or 3 hours anyway. So I'll just be on Twitter just raging. So I hope it doesn't get to that, and I hope we win, obviously. But it's fraught with danger. Those between 1 and 3 a.m. are the worst kickoff times. But we are a Celtic world, and we support Celtic from all around the world. But they are it's the absolute pits, especially when you've got, like you say, I'm flat out at work this week as well. So it's going to be a challenge, put it that way.
Yeah, we have fans all over the world, as you say, and Kairat's a couple of hours away from the Chinese border, which leads us into this little message for the anyone new who's watching who hasn't yet.
Celtic fans are everywhere, even here in China. Billions of us are subscribing to a Celtic world. You should too.
You should indeed too. And as I forewarned earlier on, we're going to have to wrap it up early tonight. So, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure serving with you. Thanks for everyone in the comments. Get your score predictions in just for the end of the show here. Stephen and Anthony, can I get score predictions from you, Stephen, first?
Yeah, I'm not confident. I think he's got all the hallmarks of a Celtic in Europe disaster. And I think we'll probably lose. I think we'll get beat about 2-0.
Oh dear, Anthony, save me.
Sorry for the
I'm going to say.
I'm going to
say 2-1 in extra time.
Are you chatting in the group as well?
No, that's my dad.
Oh, is it?
of
Hello,
the same
Mr.
name.
Maguire.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm bringing in the subs, Gav. I told you, I'm bringing people with me.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing. I can't wait to check the subscriber numbers after the show. It's going to have rocketed. All right, we're going to have to leave it there, guys.
What about you?
Thanks very much. Oh, my score prediction. I think we will win on penalties. That's my score prediction.
No, please,
and it'll be absolutely brutal from start to finish.
It's going to be a long night.
If it gets the penalties, then I'm afraid I won't be on the show next Monday. You'll be mourning my passing.
Well, you definitely will, because I'm going to be away next Monday because I'm going to watch the Rangers match, and you're hosting. All right, lads. Until next time. Farewell. Thanks.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,